Hello. Welcome to the channel. How are you guys doing tonight? Well, it's me, Beaky, as it always is. And well, I know most of the time I don't usually talk much when it comes to this. I usually cut straight into the story, but this time I'd like to ask y'all. Can y'all like, share, subscribe, and leave comments down below? And tell me your honest opinion about this story. Thank you. I really appreciate your interactions. This story is called The Window. One hot summer's night, a sister and her two brothers were sitting out in the veranda, enjoying the cool air. They watched the sun as it was setting, and as the moon raised over the trees, they decided to go to bed. A few hours later, the girl was lying in the bed, unable to sleep because of the heat. She was gazing out the window, watching the moon move across the sky when something suddenly caught her eye. She saw two small lights moving up through the woods near the graveyard. At the bottom of the hill, they looked something strange, like an animal, but she couldn't make out what it was. She kept her eyes in the woods, and then something stepped out of the shadows. Something ghastly. It was coming up the hill towards the house. After a few minutes, she lost sight of it. When she saw it coming across the lawn towards her window, it looked something like a man. And yet it didn't. As she watched it, the most uncontrollable horror seized her. She wanted to run from her room, but her door was right next to the window, and she was afraid the creature would see her. She wanted to scream, but her tongue felt like it was glued to the roof of her mouth. She rushed to the door, but before she could open the lock, she heard a scratch. Scratch. Scratch at the window. She turned around. She saw the hideous, shrunken face with flaming eyes glaring at her. She tried to scream, but she was so frightened she couldn't make a sound. The creature broke the pane of the glass and reached its long, bony fingers to unlock the window and crawled inside. The girl tried to escape, but the creature caught her by the hair and dragged it over to her bed. Then he pulled back her neck, and he sunk his teeth deep into her throat. She let out a blood-curdling scream and fainted. When her brothers heard her scream, they rushed into her room, but they couldn't get in because the door was locked. And by the time they managed to break down the door, the creature was long gone, and their sister lay unconscious in the blood, bleeding from the wound on her neck. While one of the brothers grabbed a towel, the other and tried to stop the bleed. The other took off after the creature and chased it down the hill. The thing fled through the moonlight, taking enormous strides as he soon lost sight of the creature near the graveyard. The brother went back to the house to see if he could help his sister. The sister was so scared and hurt so badly that they took her to the hospital, and her wound was disinfected. The doctor put a bandage around her neck, and she stayed in the hospital for a few days. Gradually, the wound began to heal, and the doctor said she was well enough to go home. The brothers reported the incident to police, but they couldn't figure out what the hell actually happened. It was probably some lunatic who escaped from the asylum, they said. The brothers didn't want the girl to come back home. and to stay in the same room that she had, but she insisted. After all, she said, lunatics don't escape from the asylum every day. But just in case, the brothers slept in the room across the hall, and they kept loaded pistols at their tables. The winter passed peacefully and happily, but one night, a couple of months later, the girl was awakened by scratching sound of the window. She opened her eyes, only to see the same hideous face, with the flaming red eyes once again. This time, she screamed as loud as she could, and screamed with all her might, and her brothers grabbed their pistols and came running. The creature took off, but the brothers chased it down the hill. One of them took aim, and took a shot at it, hitting it in the leg. The creature fell over, but it got up and managed to limp over the graveyard wall. The brothers watched it as it stumbled over. It seemed to disappear into an old burial vault. The next day, the girl and her brothers went down to the church and demanded that the priest open up the burial vault. Inside, it was a horrifying scene. Coffins had been broken, and bones and rotting flesh were scattered all over the floors. Only riddled and shriveled creature laid and attacked the girl, had laid inside a casket. When the priest examined the corpse, he found a bullet in his leg. The only thing they knew what to do was how to get rid of a vampire. So the priest built a roaring blaze inside the vault. Then the brothers dragged the shrunken body, tossed it into the flames. As they watched the corpse burn until there was nothing left but ashes and dust. If you like the story, leave a comment down below. Thanks, guys. I appreciate all your interactions. I really do. Have a safe night, guys. You never know what's escaped from the asylum or the cemetery near you.